often do you guys put your phone in your pocket and when you're walking down the street you think that it vibrates? And half the time when you pull it out of your pocket it actually doesn't vibrate. This is a main problem with technology. It happens more often than you think it does. Half the time when I'm walking back to my dorm or to class I think that my phone is vibrating. When I get to my room or wherever I'm going, I look at my phone and it actually doesn't vibrate. Our lives are surrounded by technology. No matter where we go, we're always going to see technology. Even in class, half of our notes are online and even our quizzes and homeworks are supposed to be submitted online. Technology addiction is real. For one, it is a growing problem. Two, it has many effects on people. And three, it does have a solution. For my first point, it is a growing problem. According to Dale Pfeiffer, a writer for Energy Bulletin, times are changing into a technology-driven world. No one stops to think about what is really going on around us. This is true because, for one, everybody has to have noise. Like if you walk through the muck, half the time you're going to see people with their laptops open and their iPods on. Half the time when you're studying, you do have noise surrounding you. Just yesterday, when I was studying in the library, my friend was listening to her iPod and on Facebook. And I was sitting there thinking, how is she studying? How is she actually learning anything about what she's doing? And it just made me think that, what are we really learning in college if half the time we're surrounded by technology? For my second point, according to Charles Sullivan, who writes for Dissident Voice, with social networks becoming more popular, people are forgetting what is real and what is reality. Half the times, if you're on Facebook, there's games and there's internet interaction with other people. You don't actually realize what you're doing if you're playing a game or something. So you don't realize if it's really happening or just in your head. And then with movies, half the time the relationships in the movies aren't actually going to happen. Like if you meet a guy and then you instantly fall in love with him and then a few years later you get married and have kids, yes, that may happen, but it's not going to happen every single time you see a guy. And it's not real anymore. Half the time it's just make-believe. Especially with fairy tales and with little kids. Yes, I know you're supposed to give little kids an imagination, but what are you really putting in their heads that this stuff is actually going to happen in the real world? With texting and the internet going around so fast, it's just like your language is becoming so limited because my parents both work in a bank and they recently just approved that they can have an instant messaging. And in the workplace, I mean, really, what are we getting to in this world if we're getting the internet, and well, the internet's everywhere, but if we're getting instant messaging in a bank, I mean, really, that's just, it's not appropriate anymore for that to happen. And for my third point, there is a solution to this. If you do think that you are becoming addicted to it and you can't live without technology, there's many things that you can do. For one, you can not text while you're with other people, which is really hard to do. I've tried it, it doesn't happen. Two, you can spend less time with your computer or your TV. And three, limit your hours with your technology. If you spend like 5 hours a day on your computer or with the TV on, try to limit it and see how far you get. The world continues to change and it's always going to change no matter where you go. And with the changing times, you have to be aware about technology and that it's still going to change and it's always going to be in our lives. Technology addiction is real. It is a growing problem, it has many effects, and it does have a solution.